Calling to order the Exeter Township Board of Supervisors meeting dated April 28th, 2025. All please rise to pledge the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you all. Roll call, Township Manager.
Ms. Kircher.
Here.
Mr. Ham.
Here.
Mr. Bell.
Here.
Mr. Pyho, Vice Chairperson.
Here.
Mr. Mohammed, Chairperson.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. At this time, we would like to recess, and we'll move to the conditional use application for property at 5701 Boyertown Pike.
You need a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. Mr. Solicitor.
All right, very good. And we will move into the conditional use hearing with respect to the property located at 5701 Boyertown Pike. So to start, I'd like to call Jason Hunter to the podium. And Jason, when you get up there, I'm hoping the court reporter can administer an oath.
Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Please state your name for the record.
Jason Hunter, zoning officer, Exeter Township.
Very good. Mr. Hunter, do you have a document marked applicant 1 in front of you?
I do.
Okay. Who are the applicants on this application?
The applicant is Alexander Dowdy.
Okay. And what are they seeking conditional use for?
So the applicant is seeking conditional use to operate a bed and breakfast out of their property at 5701 Boyertown Pike, which is otherwise known as the Stonersville Hotel.
And can you explain briefly why a conditional use is needed for that?
It is. The property is located in the Agricultural Preservation District, which is 390-12. In that zoning district, a bed and breakfast is allowed by conditional use.
Okay. Is the applicant here tonight?
They are.
Okay. And was this hearing tonight advertised?
It was.
And do you have in front of you applicant 2?
I do.
Okay. Is that a copy of the advertisement of this tonight's hearing?
It is.
And when was this advertised?
It was April 4th and April 15th.
Okay. Do you have anything to add related to this application?
Staff at the township has spoken in length with the applicant. We've gone over all the regulations. They know what they need to meet. In addition, with the application, they've submitted certification of well and septic that they both meet the criteria to operate a bed and breakfast. And they've also studied the parking on the property, and it also meets the ordinance.
Very good. Any questions from members of the board? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Dowdy, would you like to provide some testimony here? And we'll have you be placed under oath as well as you stand up there.
Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, ma'am.
Please state your name for the record.
Alexandria M. Dowdy.
Thank you.
Ms. Dowdy, could you tell me a little bit about your application?
So we're hoping to add on a 5-bedroom bed and breakfast that will have breakfast prepared every day by a private chef solely for the B&B resident or guests. They can stay no longer than 14 consecutive days. There's 2 bathrooms on premise, multiple exits, and pretty nice bedrooms, I think.
Very good. And you have, as part of your application, what looks to be a PowerPoint presentation?
I do. I had sent it to, do you have the Chromecast? Okay, yes. Yeah, it just kind of goes over the different points that are covered in the regulations by the township. So I just wanted to let you know that I had addressed all those and give you just, concise information.
And you would be continuing to operate a restaurant while also having a bed and breakfast if you're approved?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions from members of the board?
I have none. I think it's a good idea.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to provide testimony related to this conditional use application? Okay, this hearing is now concluded. Thank you. And then with that, we'll go back to the regularly scheduled Board of Supervisors meeting.
Okay. All right. Moving back to the meeting,
Hold order.
calling it to order. The Exeter Township Board of Supervisors meeting, April 28th, 25, back to order. We're moving on to the next item, which would be agenda amendments. Do we have any amendments for today?
I have none.
Seeing none, we're going to move on to announcements. I have a couple of announcements here. First one, the Board of Supervisors did hold an executive session prior to this meeting to discuss two items. The first one is discussion of possible legal actions regarding Hughes versus Exeter Township, OR docket AP 2020-0821. And then the other one is discussion of concerning personnel issues. The other announcement, I would like to ask Chief Chris Jordan, please, to step up and give us that announcement.
Good evening. Chris Jordan, Fire Chief, Exeter Township Volunteer Fire Department. Thank you, Chairman, for allowing me to give a brief update on the incident we had today. Before I begin, I'd like to preface these remarks by saying that all of our members are physically going to be okay and that they're on the road to recovery. I've spoken with each one of them as early as 30 minutes ago and went to see them at their respective hospitals. This morning on April 28th, 2025, around 6:22 a.m., the Exeter Township Volunteer Fire Department was dispatched to assist with a structure fire with people trapped in Robinson Township. During this incident, 3 of our members were injured during the rescue efforts. The injured firefighters were transferred via ambulance to Reading Hospital. 2 of the firefighters were then transferred to Lehigh Valley Hospital due to being placed on a ventilator. The firefighters are now all off the ventilators and being held overnight for evaluation. So all 3 of them will still remain at the hospital to go with the evaluations as recommended by the doctors. This is the second time in less than 3 weeks that our members have been involved in rescue operations with fire victims in Robinson Township. The members risked their lives and went above and beyond. Sorry. It's a rough day. I just ask that you keep the members in your thoughts and prayers. Again, they're going to be okay, but it was dicey there for a while. And please keep the victims of the fires in your thoughts. There were at least 2 killed today, and most likely 1 other one. And these members pulled them out. I want to thank my dad for being there for me today. He went over to the hospital with them, and my other deputy chiefs went up to Lehigh to be with them. Sorry,
It's okay.
that's all I have. But
Thank you, Chief.
they did a hell of a job.
Oh, Chief,
Please.
Chairman, is it appropriate for maybe to mention the firemen? I don't know if it's appropriate or not. Chief
They'll be recognized at a later date. We're still gathering all the information, and we'll make sure to get the proper people recognized. But they're all going to be okay, and that's what matters. So, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief, our thoughts are with your members, your department, and the victims. Those of us in emergency services, or were in emergency services, know this is the worst-case scenario for us when our own personnel are injured. So we understand the emotions and feelings that are behind this, and we empathize. But thank you.
Thank you. That concludes announcements. Going to move on to public comments, agenda items, and I have one signed in, Mr. Clarence Fournier. And I apologize if I butchered your name. Clarence?
Where's he at? I don't see him.
All right. We're going to move on. Presentation. First presentation we have by Boyle Construction Management Services. Thank you. Do we have, yep, there you go. Or IT guy.
While we're getting the IT ready, my deepest condolences and sympathies to your residents and firefighters that helped today. That's
Thank
a
you.
very difficult situation for you to deal with. So we do have a brief presentation. I just wanted to thank everyone for the opportunity to come and speak with you tonight. My name is Jennifer Davis. I'm with Boyle Construction, and we're here as a potential project manager for your proposed fire and emergency services station. We do have another colleague of mine, Tony Ganguza, who is joining us on Teams. He's out of town this evening and wanted to be part of this with you. It looks like he's going to be joining. And then we have a brief presentation. There he is. Hey, Tony.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Everyone hear me?
Yes, Tony, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, everybody can hear you. So.
We're going to mute on our end so we don't get an echo, though.
Everybody can hear me.
Yep.
Yep, we can. We're just ready to get started. So, sorry, I'll wait until we get the echo squared away. Great. Thanks, Larry. So we do have a brief presentation. Sorry.
Get it right.
How's this? Better? I won't stand too close. I have a pretty loud voice.
I can mute him. I can mute him.
Tony, I think we have to mute you. How's that?
Okay, now try it. Okay, now try it.
How's this? Better?
Yes. Seems to be a little bit better. I can hear a little better.
All right, we'll do our best. Thank you.
Just have him proceed, I guess, if he's trying to present.
Sure. Wanted to ask the Board of Supervisors and township officials if there are any specific things you would like us to address as we go through this, and please, ask any questions that you might have. We do have a brief PowerPoint. I think Larry is working to pull that up for us.
This one.
Sorry,
There it is.
I can't hear it all right now. I'm sorry.
Is Tony going to be talking or? it's-
Tony will be talking.
Okay.
Now try it, Tony.
We'll give him,
Okay, sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yep, can you hear us?
I can hear you, but it just cut out a little bit.
Okay.
Sorry for the inconvenience.
So you can go ahead to the next one, please, Larry. Thank you. So as I mentioned, here to introduce our company to you and talk to you about the services we provide to townships like Exeter Township. This is a little bit about Boyle. We're a full-service construction management and project management firm. We are in business 48 years. We've been doing projects for public agencies and entities since 1996. So this includes municipal and emergency services buildings, so fire stations, police stations, community centers, township facilities, administrative buildings. Our role is to advocate for the township as you undertake a capital project, right? There are a lot of complex moving parts, and we help you from day one manage that whole process so that your township staff can focus on their day-to-day jobs. So we handle the day-to-day management of your capital project, and you can continue township operations as you do so well. You can go to the next one, Larry. I'm not going to go through all of the detail on this. I just wanted to mention also, Boyle is an approved CoStarz vendor. under CoStar's 8, which is the maintenance, repair, and operation, CoStar's contract, which is the cooperative purchasing program through the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Okay, next one, Larry. Thank you. So our goal is to drive value to save the township money. And so there are a lot of, as I said, a lot of moving parts to this. We've listed some of our differentiators on the left, right? We lead the entire project team, from your architects and engineers to the township vendors that supply the equipment for the for the firehouse, that supply the security systems. We handle all of that for you. And this means that we prevent costly surprises later. You can see here, we're very proud of our track record of less than 1% in change orders on projects. This is well below the industry average, which is actually about 8% for projects like this. So we work hard to plan everything well so that it's a smooth process and you see maximum value. Okay, Tony, do you want to jump in here?
Yep, as long as everybody can hear me, I just wanted to check.
Yep, we can hear you.
Good?
Yep, we're good.
Oh, perfect. Oh, thank you very much. So, again, as Jen said, I really appreciate the opportunity to come in here and meet with you. I've been doing this a long time here at Boyle. I'm closing in on 15 years. We have an amazing public sector team that consists of myself, who's a licensed engineer, and I manage the team. We have architects, we have professional construction management folks. We have about a team of 9 on our public sector that's all we do from day to day is public work. And as I explained to Bill when we had met with him, this is right up our alley. This is what we do day in and day out. I've probably worked on 35 public projects over the last 14 years. Managing them from start to finish. So this is what we take pride in, this is what we do, this is what we know how to do. And as you can see on the slide, that leading the team slide, that's exactly what we do. As Jen says, Bill and the whole administration has enough to do during the day. When you're spending 15, whatever the millions of dollars are, someone needs to be managing that project from day one. And that's what we do. Typically, and I haven't found where townships really have, any township, not just Exeter, but any township has the resources and perhaps maybe even the knowledge to manage that type of project with all the moving parts that there are. And you can see on the screen between engineers, vendors and staff and architects and your grant requirements and, the boards and all the approvals. It just takes an entity to come in and, herd all that together, make sure everything's getting done. So at the end, we're spending your money wisely and we're on time. Because time, as we all know, is money. So I think that's the gist of that slide, is that we keep everything on time and on budget. You can go to the next one, please.
Yep.
This is just a taste of our project experience. There's probably another 10 or 12 projects that are on this list, but we just chose a couple of them. Again, we specialize, as Jen said, in fire and rescue, police, a lot of police stations, administration buildings, community centers, libraries, any public entity type project that you would have. We worked on, from ground up like this one to civil renovations and additions. So this is just a flavor of some of the projects that we've worked on. And as I said to Bill and Larry, I would encourage anybody to reach out to our past clients and talk to them about their experiences and how they felt in working with us. So the next slide is, just some specific firehouses that worked on. One near your facility, actually, or somewhat near in Reading. We did one in Lower Macungie Township many years, not many, but maybe, I think in 2012 it was. We did this Centronia Ambulance headquarters. We just finished up the Carbon County Operations Center, which is a fire apparatus building. In fact, we're getting ready to start one in Montgomery County for the county, which is similar to that emergency operations training center you see there on the bottom right-hand corner. On the next slide is just, again, a couple of the details for the ones that we worked on that list that I gave you. Bristol Township, we added a Sally Ford and renovated the entire police station about 3-4 years ago. We're in the middle of Hatfield's new police station, actually right now, should be finishing up in October. We finished up, that's about 19,000 square feet, Hatfield. Northampton's was about 25,000 square foot police station. And we finished Warrington's police station about 3 years ago. So we're very heavy into the public safety arena. The next slide. This slide here is really what we would be doing for you from start to finish. Managing pre-construction conference, which in my view is the most important part of the project. If you set the project up for success, you have a schedule of deliverables that we would leave out every 2 weeks at a project meeting, preparing agendas, following up with meeting minutes, holding everybody accountable, including the owners, because there are owner decisions that need to be made that we would, work through Bill and Larry to make sure they get made. But it's really just setting the project for success, right? Build a solid foundation, and that goes into the buildings we're thinking about building too. But make sure the budget's in alignment. We know what the budget is. We need to make sure we're constantly checking that along the way. We would do at least 3, possibly 4 budgets along the way to see if we need to make adjustments to the design to make sure we're hitting the budgets in that. A lot of my background is land development, so we would assist in hiring the site civil engineer, the geotechnical engineers, all the engineers that we need to make sure that the project is successful, and we would monitor their progress, and we would make sure that they stay on schedule. And we communicate very frequently. Be in communication with the staff and with the board as much as needed, but with Bill and the staff on a daily basis, making sure that we're getting things done on time. And we handle all the logistics and phasing around the site, traffic controls, utility coordination, utility conflicts, pole relocations, anything that has to deal with a construction project we're doing on the very early part of the project to make sure we can put the project out to bid on time. And then the next section is the bidding, right? The bidding part. There's a craft to that. There's documentations that we prepare that we've learned over the last 35 projects that are very solid. We prepare those bid documents to make sure that there's no holes in them. So when it goes out to bid, you're protected. We get the bids we want. Get a great bid track record. Just last week in Upper Pottsgrove, we're getting ready to put the Upper Pottsgrove Administrative and Lease Building out to bid, and we're out to bid now. And we got almost 40 bidders at a pre-bid meeting. Some of that is really a result, quite honestly, of the way we manage projects, and that the bidders know that we're there to help, we're there to cooperate with them, and we're there for a successful project. So we have an excellent bid. When we bid projects, people can come out to bid. So that's a very efficient process that we have with bidding. And we handle all that for you. We put it on pen bids. We manage that whole process for you. Bring the bids in, we tabulate them, we review them, we make sure they're good bidders. We check their financials, we check their schedules. We make sure everything's in line, and then we prepare notice of awards for your meetings, and we tell you exactly who we recommend, and here's the tabulation of bids, and then we prepare our contracts and get it ready for construction. And then it's the construction phase. We'll have full-time on-site management. We'll have our safety team occasionally stopping by to make sure from a safety standpoint, the contractors are doing what they're supposed to do. Our quality control department stops out to make sure that the quality is being built. We have obviously our full-time observers out there as well, but we have a specific quality control department at work. all those folks would be stopping out to make sure quality's there and the safety. And then, of course, we're there to help you with pay applications, not help you, we do it. We authorize payment through the administration and then through the board. We track all, potential changes. We vet them out, we price them, and make sure if someone does, if a contractor does have a change order, that we vetted it out. We know what it costs, we negotiate that with them, we tell them it's not a change, it's in the bid document. So when we bring a change to you, you can count on it being vetted out and properly negotiated. Or not at all. We have to- one or the other. And then we close out the project. We do as-built along the way. We manage the project through Procore, which Jen will talk to a little bit. But when we hand you the documentation at the end, we don't walk away. We're there. So if Bill or Larry or anybody needs anything, a year from then, 2 years from then, 3 years from then, you just call us and we'll be happy to come out and assist you with whatever you need. The documentation that we give you will have everything. 1,000 pictures a day, all the as-built, all the operation and maintenance manuals of all the equipment that you have. Everything you need in the future will be on a thumb drive that we would give you that you can, and we would have access to it from forever because it's Procore, it's cloud-based project management system. We can also assist Bill, and everybody would have access to it that needed access to it, right? Whether it's Bill, Harry, the chief, the board, whoever needed access to our Procore system, you would have it. Financial access to it, whatever access you wanted, you're the client, you would have it. And we would train you on that. We have people that are expert Procore, so no worries. We would have somebody come up, train you on the system, help you identify how to find things, so if you need them, you have them at your fingertips. Or you just ask us and we'll give it to you. Financial reporting for your board meetings, summaries, anything you need is in that system. And we're also willing to come to the board meetings from time to time and give you updates. So whatever you need, we're there as your trusted advisor to come to. You can count on that. Then you want to take
Great.
over? the
Yes.
quality and the safety?
Thanks, Tony. Quality control, so as Tony mentioned, this is happening every day on the project from the very first day that we're on board. So helping you make the architect and engineer selections, managing questions that happen through that process, evaluations of those, developing those contracts for those services, and then all through the pre-construction phase and construction. We have a quality control department. They're excellent, so they're going to constantly be reviewing the project and make sure you're getting a complete operational facility at the end. Safety, same thing. We're planning safety from day one. This includes development of a site logistics plan. You're on a busy road here, Gibraltar Road, so we'd make sure we're planning for traffic patterns, coordinating that with you and your public safety staff and with Larry. Keep pedestrians safe, keep drivers safe, keep the construction workers safe, and keep visitors safe. We'll also have our safety staff visiting the job site on a regular basis. You can go on to the next one, Larry. Thank you. And technology, Tony talked about this a little bit. We have a number of technology platforms. The one I think that would be most helpful for you is Procore, which is our online project management system. So this does give you access to everything, including, as Tony said, all of the job site photos, financial reporting on the project, schedules, meeting minutes. So all of that is done through Procore. It's very user-friendly, and we would provide training to any of you that would wish to utilize that platform. Tony?
Yep, go to the next slide. This is, we provided this in our proposal, but I think we actually sent the bill separately as well to share. But this is the breakdown of our hours. We're very, very transparent about the way we do this. So, here's the time we're gonna spend, it's there. We will spend every hour of that, there's no question about that, and probably more. But it just shows you the in-depth of what we do and how to do it. I'll be leading the team, but certainly Christian Donovan and Sandy will be part of the team as well. Sandy's the registered architect, and has worked on multiple public projects, used to work for GKO Architects and did high school work, all kinds of public work. I think 85% of their building design public work. So Sam's going to be involved. Christian Donovan and I have worked together now for 15 years just doing public work. So him and I are very familiar with how we each work, and we'll also be involved in the project. And of course, as I said below, we're going to have full-time on-site representation for the project. And that's down below the 173 hours a month, which is really the driver of most of the costs.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask a question of Tony while we're on this page?
Absolutely.
Sure.
May I ask a question? Tony, hi, George Bell, good evening. Just a question while we're on this page and the last one. Can you hear me okay, sir?
I can hear you perfectly fine.
Great. I see how the hours reconcile with a one-pager we were distributed, like 2688. So just a couple things while I'm looking at this and digesting it. One is, if you just do quick division math, this relates to the cost. And this would be the page where it shows construction and post-construction services. So it's that same 2688 hours and then a lump of about $350,000. So about $130 an hour, give or take. So my questions are, first on this topic, one is, that's just simple division, but is that a blended average, or are we, like, in other words, I see project executive hours on there, and I also see administration. So what I'm trying to uncover, like, if we're calling up for this, we'll train you on our software kind of thing, I wouldn't be expecting to pay the same cost we're paying for some other function. So I'm just wondering if you could speak to how, to ask the question sharply, is this a blended all-in? And if not, will some services cost less than others? And then the follow-up question would be, if the total scope of the project goes over this amount of hours, is this a flat cost, or are we on the hook for that? I'm guessing we are, but I just want to hear your answers to those two things.
No, you're not.
Okay. Okay.
We don't do things like that. We are not, and others do it differently, but we don't.
Okay.
Let me just tell you what we do. I don't care which is why we don't do it that way.
Yeah, I want to know how you do it, so thanks.
Yeah, we give you a lump sum fee. That's what it is. Based on these hours, we know what it's going to take to do it, and these are the hours we expect to do it. We are going to be, again, a lump sum fee. So if it takes us twice as many hours to do this project than we have allocated, you don't pay a dime extra. You pay a lump sum fee regardless. So we're going to be charging you a monthly fee for our pre-construction services. So if we go to the proposal for pre-con, we estimate 15 months, almost 700 hours, and we're going to charge $6,700 a month. So if it takes us 800 hours, you still pay $67, $62 a month.
Right.
We know it's going to take at least $696. So that's what we've estimated the hours. You don't pay any less or any more. You pay that amount.
Yeah,
Same for construction.
I appreciate that,
It's gonna take
because it kind of clears
12
up,
months.
it kind of clears up then if the executive is doing a little more, or because it's kind of in there.
I will tell you, the executive, the project manager level and higher are probably expending more hours than,
I understand, but
We've
now
allocated.
that helps. I just want to make sure on the fly I'm internalizing what I'm looking at. So, and there's a lot going on here, so thank you.
sure.
Mr. Chairman, thanks, that's all I.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And George, we're here, and that's why we do it this way. We don't want anybody to ever feel we're nickeling and diming. In most meetings, we'll have at least 2 or 3 of us there because we're all doing different things. And we don't want people to think that I'm paying on average $125, $30, $40, $50 an hour. My God, there's 4 people here, and that's what we're paying for? No, that's why we give you a lump sum fee, and we bring as many people from our team as we need to have. No extra cost.
Pardon the interruption, but that's what I wanted to know, so that
No,
helps.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we just have one more.
And I'm sorry, I didn't ask if there was any questions. That's just what's going on there, and I didn't mean to do that. If there's any other questions, I'm happy to answer them before we go to the next slide.
Any other questions before, okay, we'll wrap
Saving
up in
mine
that
at the
case.
end.
Okay, fantastic, thank you. All right, Tony, you're good to wrap it
Okay,
up.
So let me just, I think we do a great job with these projects, after 35 projects, I think, we've established a process and we've established systems that I would say are 99.9% through. So I think, our team is great. We've got people that have been doing this a long time, myself included. We have a great approach. We know the agency's experience, but we have it. So, and not just anybody, in all fairness, can do public-related projects like this. I'm not saying we're the only ones. But I think we do a pretty good job at it, and there's a craft to it, right? Because the documentation you prepare has to meet public requirements, public wage rates, making sure that the documents are good, solid, and in order, making sure that the plans are in order from a public bidding perspective, right? And then there's all, and I believe you have a RAPP grant, complying with the requirements for RAPP. The bid documents have to reflect that, and whether it's RAPP or any other grant that you may have along the way, those documents need to be amended to make sure that those grant requirements are in them. And we know that. So you did, along the way, then, you stub your toes many times in the early stages, and then you get to a point after 30-some projects that you really know how to do this and put the documents together for a good bid. And then speaking of that, we're going to lead the team. We're going to make sure that we're going to prepare a schedule in the beginning, and that's a schedule we're going to live by. We're going to get buy-in from our consultants to make sure they agree with it, and then every week and every day, we're going to hold everybody accountable to make sure we hit those schedules. So when I tell the board and Bill and everybody else that we're going out to bid on X, we're going out to bid on X date. So, everybody needs to make sure that they're holding to the schedule and we're holding to the budget, because that's most critical to the township and the taxpayer. So I think, we talked about some of the others. I think our track record speaks for itself. Again, if anybody has any questions, I encourage anybody to reach out to any of the townships that we've worked in. And certainly I would expect them to vouch for us.
Okay.
But I'm happy to answer any questions, and I do appreciate everybody allowing me to participate via Teams, because I am out of town this week, but I do appreciate that. I know it's not easy sometimes.
It's okay.
Okay,
All
question?
right, thank you. I'll go ahead and start, and then we'll open it to the floor. I'm just under the assumption that you guys have a Pennsylvania registered PE on your team, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. What has been your experience with public open houses? Have you guys helped, assisted the architect with those, or have you? No?
Yeah, absolutely. For a pre-bid meeting to generate interest, yes.
Yep.
Yep.
And for the residents and the public, have you assisted in those public open houses or no?
We have. In fact, our marketing team will help you organize things like a groundbreaking, a ribbon cutting. We do that for many of our clients to help you celebrate those milestones.
And even before celebrating the milestones? bringing
Even
the
before that,
product to the
yes,
public
putting
to
together a
get-
presentation, attending a meeting.
Get input.
Talking about the project, absolutely. Getting input, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one thing, we should have, I neglected to mention, that one of the, that's not an extra cost, and those hours are not in our fee, but we do it anyway, right? There's no extra charge. So when we're, as Jen mentioned, we do have a whole marketing team, which Jen is part of.
Perfect.
That we do, a lot of things for the township, like if residents are coming out, or if there's a piece that's necessary that we want to share. Let's say we're through schematic design as an example.
Yes.
And we have renderings available. Those renderings can be put on a newsletter type thing to send out to the residents, and stuff like that. And that goes without saying about doing these ceremonies, in cases like Hubris is full. We made the last steel beam on the building, and we had a steel beam raising ceremony at the site.
Yeah,
It just generated a lot of public interest. And those are the kind of things we do all the time on our marketing department.
Tony, you're breaking up just a little bit. But yes, a number of events, materials, presentations, we'll help you with all of that.
In our opinion, it would not be a successful project without public involvement, so we'd like
Absolutely.
to keep Exeter public involved the whole way
Yes,
through.
yes.
So you've mentioned you had a very low rate of change order and to the value of 0.9.
Yes.
What was the actual dollar value of that?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
I'm not certain. We'd have to, I can get back to you on that.
Okay, thank you. And
Some of that '09
yeah,
is owner-driven changes as well.
okay,
Sometimes if there's money available.
they would request
in the
more.
project, because we got good bids, as an example.
Contingency.
Some owners decide to do more than we would have anticipated. So some
Yeah.
of that '09
can
is
happen.
owners driving some of that extra spend.
Yes. Which actually gonna bleed into my next question is on your last successful project that you have bid, I'm presuming you have prepared an independent estimate compared to the architect? And what was the delta between the successful bidder and your estimate?
As of right now, with Hatfield Township, we are $350,000 under our estimate, $350,000 under the budget, and are currently $275,000 under our contract. Under all the construction
Good bidding.
contracts that were issued.
Okay.
So we're trending very, very well. We're in the negative in a good way. At Hatfield right now.
Well, the last question that I have before I'll open the floor is, I'm assuming also you have prepared an independent schedule from the architect, and on that last successful project that you have finally constructed, are you on track to on your schedule that you prepared, or is it different than what you have?
Tony, would you like to give specifics?
Talking about, okay, yeah. In Hatfield, we had a schedule that right now, well, let me back up. We prepare a very detailed schedule that goes in a bid document. So when the project goes out to bid, Boyle prepares a schedule so that the contractors know what they're bidding on. Other, I've seen other companies just give them the duration that they have to complete it, and we do not do that.
Good.
We give them a full schedule, but our expectation is from the time they're hired and to the time we expect to hold the ribbon cutting ceremony. And that's all on this schedule, it's probably 3 to 4 pages long.
Perfect.
That gets inserted in the bid document. So when bidders bid on the project, they know exactly the expectations. We take that schedule after the bid, and then we work with the general contractor who's required to maintain the schedule with our input. And that schedule gets prepared after the bids, and the milestone dates that are in the bid document schedule hold. I'll just add more detail here.
Yep.
And for Hatfield, as an example, we had ourselves finishing up the end of November of this year, and right now we're trending toward middle of October.
Thank you. We'll open the questions to the rest of the board members if anybody has a question. And I'm looking to my right, and probably Jack has plenty.
Of course. Thank you. Tony, Jack Pyho here. First off, thanks for your proposal. You did do exactly what we were after in terms of the proposal, so I thank you for that. There you are. And
Hi, Jack.
a couple of quick questions. Mohammed pretty well covered a lot of what I was going to ask you, but I got the most important one, I think, is the project manager. Okay, and we talked about this before on a Teams meeting, is there's going to be one overall project manager. Am I correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, and that project manager will report to, in our case, would be to Bill, our township manager, correct?
Yes, correct. Jack, let me tell everyone how this typically works. During the pre-construction phase of work, I'm extremely involved in that portion of the work. I usually lead that portion of the work, and along with me will be Christian Donovan and Sandy, as I mentioned. As we get into construction, I typically step back a couple of steps, not too far, because I don't like to get too removed, but a couple of steps back, and Christian and Sandy and our on-site superintendent would then lead the project. But typically, I'm the lead for pre-construction conference, or construction services, and then during construction, again, I back up a couple of steps, and I let Christian lead the construction aspect of it.
Okay, that's, yeah, thanks for the clarification. The last thing, I'm just curious, is your scheduling software, what do you guys use?
I can answer that. Outbuild is the
Okay.
program we use, which is a pretty sophisticated platform.
Yep.
We just transitioned to that a couple of months ago because of all the features.
Yeah,
it
that's
offers.
fairly new.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Okay, I was just curious what you're
Yeah,
using.
that's what we're using.
The Procore, maybe I shouldn't mention this, but I do not like Procore.
Before that, Jack, we've used Microsoft Project mostly.
Yeah, and that's what most of, like, in my world, we're all used to using is Microsoft Project. So I was just curious what
Yeah.
you're using.
If there's a certain kind of report you would like, Jack, extracted from Procore, we can certainly do that for you. We can set that up and then have that go to you on a
Oh,
regular
no.
basis.
You use what you're comfortable with, and as long as the subs are familiar with it also and the use of it, same way with Procore, if they're familiar, you use what,
Okay.
use what works.
But if there's certain reports you would like to have, then we
Yeah.
can make sure we
The
get those.
reports and all, we can
set up
talk
for
about
you.
later. What we'd
Okay.
like to have, and Tony already alluded to that, is reports back through Bill and to the Board of
Yep.
Supervisors, and that's later.
Okay.
Yeah, thank
Sounds
you.
good.
That's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Supervisor Granger? Nothing. Supervisor
good.
Bell?
No, thank you.
Supervisor Ham? No. Okay. Well, we certainly appreciate
Okay.
your time coming in. Thank you, Tony. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate
for
the
the
chance to talk with you all.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank everybody again for allowing me to do this remotely. I really appreciate that.
Thanks. I guess before, I forgot to ask if our fire chief has any question. Because he will be involved in this as well.
I don't think so, Mr. Chairman, I have one.
Certainly.
Jennifer, you.
Yes.
Slide had funding assistance, in particular, related to, the RACP.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure. So we understand.
Jennifer.
For the record, we would like to repeat the question because he does not have a microphone.
Oh, sure. The question is on funding assistance, particularly RACP.
Yes.
So we understand the township currently has a RACP grant, and that comes with a lot of requirements, right, to be compliant in order to earn the reimbursement for that. So it's a reimbursement program from the state. So there are all of those things that make you compliant, such as certified payrolls, U.S. Steel, the competitive bid process. We make sure you dot all of those i's and cross all of those t's to get your reimbursement. We also included optional services of a consultant who can help you with the project management plan, some of the other administrative aspects of a RACP grant, or if you choose to apply for another one, to help you with that. So.
Perfect.
So any other funding sources you have like that have specific procurement requirements, our staff is well-versed in those. We'll help you with that.
If I could just elaborate on that point just a little bit further. So I always like to give examples because it's helpful. We're working in, of course, Hatfield, they receive RACP funding. We're working in Lower Providence Township with them, they receive RACP funding, as did you. So the next step in that process, once you're awarded that RACP money, is preparing what's called a PMP plan. And then there's other steps in that process, right? Prepare that PMP plan, send it into the state reviews it, they send back comments, questions, you respond back, and then there's other components before the money is ready for reimbursement. That is the process that if the township hasn't done the PMP plan and got the money ready for expenditure, that's the process that we put in as an optional service for you that we can help you with. What is included in our proposal already is once you're through that process with the state that I just mentioned, once you're through that process, and maybe you are already, once you're through it, you then have to set up the bid documentation in the bid based on that process. That's something we will do for you as part of our proposal. It's already, the hours are in there, we know we're doing that. That's putting in there, you need to have US steel, you need to have, there's a whole bunch of requirements that's boilerplate that we've now put into a boilerplate system to put in the bid documentation. We will do that for you based on our fee. We will also, as part of our fee already, during construction, do what Jen just said. Get the steel certification, get the certified payrolls every month, and we will also work with the designated DEP consultant, because DEP hires consultants for the reimbursement. We will directly, along with your finance director, because we're gonna need some financial reports from them, we will work with the finance director at your township to get everything over to DEP for your reimbursement. We will do that. That's all part of our fee, and the hours are in the fee associated with that work, because we know you got RAC deals. So I just wanted to elaborate a little bit on what we're gonna do for you and what we can do for you if you have not already done the pre-planning stuff with the state.
Okay.
Just a comment, and I think I can speak for Bill. That's a large value-added aspect to the project. I mean, it's very important.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
And we
thank
would
you all.
also, and we would also suggest, by the way, that if you got 500,000, I think it was 500, I'm not sure, 100% sure, but whatever you got, we can go after it again. I mean, more money. I mean, once we get started, like maybe once we have, schematic design done, and we have our budgeting done for schematic design, and the timing worked out, why not go for another $1 million?
Exactly.
Or that's 1.5. That will easily help you to do. That's in our fee to help you do that, to go get the money. So if you want to do that, we're happy to help you do that.
I think we will be doing that, definitely.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right.
That's it, Tony.
Great presentation. Appreciate you coming out. Next, we have review of the first quarter of 2025 budget.
Okay.
This one?
Yep. Good evening.
Good evening.
So tonight, we're going to review the performance for the first quarter. So first, we'll take a snapshot of the general fund. We have revenue for the first quarter is at 20%, which is where we expect to be at this point. We will see this revenue tick up in the second quarter when we start seeing real estate tax and business privilege tax come in. On the expenditure side, we are performing as expected and 23.5% year-to-date. And then we can take a look at our top revenue sources here. This graph gives us a nice overview of where we stand so far. As you can see, all our major sources are performing as expected for this point in the year. Kind of some highlights here. Earned income tax is at 23%, which this is consistent with historical levels. We received our landfill host fee prepayment of $950,000 back in January. Our cable franchise fees are tracking at 25%, and these are staying stable now. We have a couple of areas that are running ahead of where we expect. So permits and transfer tax are typically lagging at this point in the year, but they're right around 25% for both of those. And then we'll see real estate tax, recycling, and business privilege tax. That'll all peak in the second quarter for those. And then for our interest earnings, these have continued to perform well for us. Wastewater proceeds is reached nearly half of the budgeted projection at 48%. And across all funds, we're at 49% of budget. We're continuing to see higher interest rates and strong investment returns, specifically from those funds placed with Wilmington Trust. Back one. And then looking at expenditures by category, you can see overall we are at 23% year-to-date, so we're in good shape heading to second quarter. Looking at some of the major categories, we have salaries and wages, which is our biggest expense. We are right at 25%. We do have the police department is tracking a little bit higher at 26%, but that's due to some longevity and buybacks that occur in the beginning of the year and kind of skew that number a little bit. That'll even out later in the year. Healthcare is our next largest expense and is at 24%, and it's tracking well across all departments. We have insurance at 46%. This is due to the billing structure. We have premiums that are annual and paid in the beginning of the year, and some of our other premiums are billed at 40% in the first quarter. We have other employment benefits at 43%, which is mostly driven by unemployment compensation, which is only on that first $10,000 of wages. So that's concentrated in the first quarter. We have workers' comp at 39%. And that's primarily due to a 2024 audit premium adjustment, which was a true-up based on actual wages. And then looking ahead, we have some expenditures that we'll see later in the year, including dispatch fees in the communications category, the pension contributions, and the fire insurance expense. One more, yep. And then for each department for the first quarter, we have administration at 24% and on track. We have engineering and code enforcement at 20%. The variance here mainly comes from some of the consulting fees for capital projects, which will pick up later in the year. Highway department is tracking at 22%. That's some slight savings due to vacant positions that took a little longer than expected to fill. We got Parks and Rec at 15%. That'll pick up in the summer with the summer programming. And we have police at 24% and on track for the year. On to our sewer account receivable. We still have 188 accounts with outstanding balances, totaling about $490,000. We had 12 accounts paid off and a total receivables reduction of $43,000 in the first quarter. On our other funds here, on the revenue side, interest revenue provided a positive boost, especially for those on Wilmington Trust, which we have some funds in capital improvement, equipment, park, and wastewater invested with Wilmington. Utility and fire service will see the revenue peak again in the second quarter with the tax revenue. And in liquid fuels, we received $13,000 more than expected for our 2025 allotment. On the expenditure side, go back. The equipment is tracking at about 60%. That's expected because we purchased the police vehicles already this year, and that was the main planned purchase in that fund. And then some of our capital projects, we have MS4 and culvert projects are still in the engineering and permitting phase. One more, Larry. The police vehicles are all purchased. 2 are still being upfitted. Third one is complete and under budget. And then we're using some grants this year to assist with some of the funding of these items, including we had a 902 recycling grant that is going to fund 90% of that leaf vac cost, and a Green Light Go grant that is funding a portion of the signal project. And we've also applied for grants to assist with the Collin Court MS4 project and Trout Run Playground. And that wraps up everything I have on the first quarter. I'm open for any questions or anything.
Mr. Chairman, questions?
Please.
Thank you. Good evening. Thanks for another concise report. Appreciate it. 2 questions, please. One is going to be on the revenue sources. Some of it is seasonal and intuitive, yet trash and recycling receipts seem 14% seems low. Is that a timing, or is somebody not paying their bill to us?
It all comes in on the real estate tax bill.
Okay, tax bill, that makes
Yep.
perfect sense. And then down here on category salaries and wages, just talk about the number 1 because it's the number 1. So that might be a couple pages down, but it's that
Yep.
page. So that, I mean, looks real good for keeping it pretty tight. I will say, and I think my experience, that summertime sees an uptick in vacation though, and Q4 definitely sees an uptick in PTO. So I could almost see that being at 25 is actually risk of running high before the year's over.
We're actually, the police overtime is at about 19% year-to-date, so there's some wiggle room there.
Okay.
And Larry's as well, even with all the snow,
Yeah, we're
is still doing good.
Okay, perfect, because it's just one line, but it's like the $7 million line, so I appreciate
Yeah.
that. So appreciate it. That's all I have.
Thank you, Supervisor. Any other questions?
Good job.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Excellent job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, can we turn the lights back on?
So we can see. Let there be light.
All right, moving on to consent agenda. We'll be seeking a motion to approve the consent agenda with its sole 3 items. 1, minutes from April 14th, 2025. Board of Supervisors, disbursements for April 28th, 2025, and Treasurer's Report from March 2025. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next, zoning and planning. Joe.
Yes, first item on the agenda under zoning and planning this evening is a motion to approve conditional use application for property at 5701 Boyertown Pike. This is the property that was just presented under the conditional use hearing to operate a bed and breakfast in the agricultural preservation zoning district. We're looking for a motion from the Board of Supervisors whether they would consider granting that conditional use.
Okay. Circle back to it. We're seeking a motion to approve conditional use application for property at 5701 Boyertown Pike, and I'll make that motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0 vote, motion carries.
Okay. Item number 2 is there's a motion for this evening to approve Resolution 2025-18 granting conditional final land development plans for the Lorraine Nursery. This is a development that's been in front of the Board of Supervisors for preliminary plan approval. This is located, it's a 216-unit apartment complex located off of Shelbourne Road, the section of Shelbourne that the township owns and maintains behind Home Depot. This evening, we do have representatives from Metropolitan to answer any questions. They're seeking, the Planning Commission did approve conditional final plan approval contingent upon meeting any outstanding items in the Great Valley Consultants February 26th, 2025 review letter, including any additional staff comments. And also under the resolution 2025-18 this evening, that same item is included. In addition to, the applicant must pay all outstanding township consultant and solicitor fees. Applicant must satisfy all applicable requirements of the township codes. All future development of the property shall be subject to new application and approval by the Board of Supervisors. There is representatives in case anyone has any questions they'd like to ask in reference to the proposed land development.
How about it?
Yes. Yeah, since I was involved on the planning commission when this all started too, and I'm glad we're almost there. I know it's been a long process.
It has. Good evening, Greg Edelman here on behalf of the applicant. It's nice to see everybody.
Good evening. The question I have, and Jason does an excellent job of summarizing, and so does Joe, is the one hot item, and Jason put it in caps, sidewalks.
Sure.
Go for it.
Well, so there was some discussion before the planning commission, and I don't have the plans. I don't know if we can put them up or not, but at the end of Shelbourne, where the cul-de-sac is located, we had originally proposed to put sidewalk around the cul-de-sac on the frontage of our property. That didn't make any sense because wrapping it around the cul-de-sac is where we're going to actually have some of the snow removal and the snow easement placed. So there was some discussion about extending the sidewalk off the property down Shelbourne just before the entrance to the shopping center. And we expressed a willingness to do that even though it's not on our property, provided, of course, there'd be no maintenance responsibility imposed upon Metropolitan as it's not their property, and under your second-class township code, anyone who has a sidewalk in front of their property is responsible for the operation and maintenance of it. Or you could even make somebody put it in even if we weren't putting it in. So we're actually conferring a benefit on the shopping center owner by being willing to do that. At the same time, we understand that there is a benefit for our future residents to be able to walk on the sidewalk to the shopping center. So that's why we were willing to do it. I think there was some communication with the shopping center owner, even though this is, I believe, in the right-of-way, so it doesn't really matter. We could put it in regardless. I'm not sure exactly if the shopping center owner had any objections to us putting in. I think their objection was to whether they had to maintain it, which is why I'm clarifying that we're not going to maintain it, but we will put it in. I think it requires us to move a couple of light standards too, right?
3 light posts.
3 light posts, so we'll have to move that too. So we're willing to do that as part of a condition of approval here. Even though it's off-site, we understand the benefit to both the residents and the township by having that extended to the entrance of the shopping center, but not into the shopping center, just to the entrance.
Yeah, that was the one item, and Jason is back there, and I know we know as a board, and Joe, he's been trying to reach out to the Shelbourne owners.
Yes.
Do you have an
Yes.
update?
Actually, Jason's been in contact with the developer or the owner of the shopping center, and Jason, I don't want to speak on your behalf, but they're under the impression they would allow it. However, they did not want to own and maintain, or at least do the maintenance and
Correct.
operation of, or the upkeep of the sidewalk.
So it was later today that they finally did get back to me, and they indicated that they would be completely on board and willing to allow Metropolitan to construct and erect the sidewalks. However, at this point, they do not want to take the liability or the future maintenance. In my opinion, they both are on their property, so they're going to have to take liability and future maintenance. They'd asked that, at this time, they'd asked that either Metropolitan or the township take over, obligate themselves to, take liability and maintenance. I have spoken with John Rathon from Metropolitan. He had indicated, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, if I am, correct me. John had indicated that if I can make some headway with Metropolitan, that he would still honor their word and put the sidewalks in the future. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean Metropolitan, I meant Shelbourne Square. If I could make some headway with Shelbourne in the future, they would, back me up on that, and they would still honor it.
Okay.
I think we should make sure that they know that we did supervisors, I believe all of us here, do not want to take control of that or have anything to do with the upkeep.
Absolutely. I spoke with Township Manager, Mr. Heim, today, and we did not respond to them. We figured we would see how things go today and take it from there.
Well, the folks living at the development are still going to walk that way, whether there's a sidewalk or not. So there's more
Absolutely.
liability without the sidewalk.
I mean, absolutely. In my opinion, a slippery wet grass could be more liable.
Exactly.
True.
Yeah.
And it is in the second-class township code.
It
We
is
could
a
have them put
public
in.
street. That section of Shelbourne is our
Yeah.
street.
It was going to come right up alongside of Home Depot, if I remember.
They're going to
right.
add the cul-de-sac area and then offer that to
Yeah.
deed of dedication to the township and then put the sidewalk on the lower, I'll say the lower side, the other side to help facilitate snow plowing, so, to keep that away. And then unfortunately, the developer of Shelbourne does not want to assume any of that responsibility for that. It's a small section of sidewalk that's just going up to the corner of Home Depot. So,
Yeah.
I'm
We're at a-
assuming
we're at a
they
stalemate at
already
this.
have to clean their parking lot and their sidewalks leading to the store, so what's another 20 feet? Hey, okay.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
We can definitely revisit that. That's not something that's going to die on the vine. Hopefully, we can revisit that and make some headway on that in the future.
We would like to do it right.
Yeah, but the bottom line, Jason and Metropolitan, is you're willing to bring the sidewalk up to Shelbourne Square Shopping Center, which I think is a good thing. Yes, absolutely.
Right, to the entrance. We'd obviously like to do it while we're constructing.
Obviously.
Because we have everyone mobile and mobilized at the time. While, we don't want to give an open-ended 20 years from now.
Sure.
To come back, so clearly, our construction timetable's, 16 to 24 months?
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
We've done the engineering on it.
Sorry, John.
We have a plan pulled together. We've looked at a site a cost for it. There's a couple light posts that need to move. It's feasible without any big retaining walls or anything like that, so it's feasible.
And we appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll do it while it's there. It's just, we can't figure out a way to make, allow that.
Right.
Let's see if Jason could work out something.
Yep.
Now, since you're talking construction, I'll ask my question. Assuming you'll get an approval, when are you starting? When are you finishing? What's your schedule like?
So we have our MPDS permit. There's no HOP permit. We have final plan approval from the Planning Commission, obviously looking for the board. The biggest outstanding item is the sewer planning module. I was here, not last month, the month before, and you approved that. It's with DEP. We've had some good back and forth with DEP. I'd imagine that's probably 60 days or so. We'd have to work through developer agreements with your solicitor, cost escrows, things of that nature, but we're probably the fall start time.
Perfect.
I
Supervisor Ham, any other question?
I do.
I got two more.
Go ahead.
I got two more, easy ones. The first one is, are you aware, we had an internal discussion about bus stop. Are you aware of the bus stop for Exeter Township School District?
I am not, I apologize.
I'll defer that, then let Jason discuss that with you and our township manager. Jason, you want to jump in?
Yeah, it's my understanding that the Exeter Township School District is willing to pick up the students in the cul-de-sac outside the development. They won't go into the private streets, but they will pick up in the cul-de-sac. Yeah.
Correct, and that's with the meeting that we had here on site with the school district and the transportation, director of transportation.
Yes, and I can relay that to the applicant.
Yep, I didn't know if it got relayed to Metropolitan. The last thing is, if you remember on the public meetings, there was concern about light coming from the property to some of the adjacent homeowners and sound. I haven't seen the latest plans. I assume that's been addressed, or has it been addressed?
Yes, and there are 4 comments on the last review letter, all of which from GBC, they've considered that satisfied and resolved.
They did address the lighting issues as well as providing screenings for sound as well as for light, any type of light being transferred onto adjoining properties. So that has been satisfied. The
Okay.
lighting plan has been reviewed, and it meets code.
Good. Thank you, Joe.
Sure.
I have a question.
Yes.
With this pathway that's going up that we're concerned about, or I'm concerned about, is there going to be a light available for the people to cross 422 right there?
So the sidewalk that's being proposed is just to the corner of the Home Depot, not all the way out to 420.
Not out to 420?
Just from our property up to the front of the, near where like the nursery landscape area is.
Yes.
It's just from the future cul-de-sac extended in all the way up to that corner of the front corner of the Home Depot.
Okay, because I
And
know I
then
don't.
there are 3 street lights that we would be relocating if we were to install a sidewalk. So that sidewalk would be lit, but just to the front of Home Depot.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussions? All right, circling back to it, seeking a motion to approve resolution number 2025-18, granting conditional final land development plan for Lorraine Nursery. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 5-0 vote, motion carries.
Great, thank you again for your time, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone.
The last item under zoning and planning is discussion and possible action on Mount Penn Water Authority request for final contributions to Crystal Lake project. This is a project that's been actually taken place by Mount Penn Water. They own the actual property. Both the lake and the recreational facilities are located in both Exeter and Lower Alces Township. My understanding is Mount Penn Water Authority reached out to both municipalities, including Exeter, to determine whether they're willing to donate final contribution towards the project for some extra work. I wouldn't say extra work, but additional work that still needs to be completed as part of their water quality project. Crystal Lake, they're creating it to be more of a best management practice facility and so forth. Tonight, they're looking for action, whether the board would be interesting. I think Larry was 30, or Bill was 35,000, I believe.
Yeah, it was a total of 75,000 with a 35,000 split between us and Lower Houses.
Yeah, so we have a staff recommendation
Please.
that we do not participate in the funding for the Crystal Lake stormwater improvements. And staff reviewed it, and our reasoning is centered on the fact that the area identified provides benefits to only 3 Exeter Township residents. And the nature of the improvements primarily services property in Lower Alces Township. So the staff doesn't think we have an obligation to contribute to repairs or enhancements, especially when the return on investment for Exeter is minimal. But that being said, our Public Works Department can do routine maintenance of existing stormwater basin located behind the Antietam Pool that's attached to our stormwater basin located on Park Avenue. That would be consistent with how we manage similar infrastructure throughout the county. So we can contribute, but not in the area of dollars. That's our recommendation from staff.
Okay.
Looking at Larry, and I sense he wants to say something.
The catch basin that we're discussing right now is basically the T where ours comes in and merges with Lower Houses, and that's where we could maintain that like we do all our other catch basins throughout the township.
And in their presentation last time they were here, we have mentioned that we actually stopped contributing a runoff to that lake a while back. We stopped. We tied our pipes in a sense.
No, we did not. We basically have one road, which is Park Ave, where the other catch basin is, which ties into the existing one that we're talking about behind the pool.
Yep.
But we haven't cut anything off from that yet.
Okay.
Larry, do you maintain that now?
We haven't maintained the one behind the Antietam Pool because it's on not township property. So if it's one of the deals where if we do an agreement with Mount Penn Water Authority to take our truck onto their property to maintain that. We do maintain the one that is on Park Ave, right before that catch basin.
Larry, what kind of hours and effort you're looking to spend on that maintenance?
You're talking probably 2 to 3 guys, roughly about an hour. Each time we go.
Okay. And you go twice a year?
Depending on storms, but mostly twice a year is pretty good. But if we have heavy storms like we've been seeing, these 100-year storms that are coming basically every other month, we'd probably be out there more.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions?
Do we need a motion to approve or not approve?
I don't think we motion it. Do we motion it even?
Well, I mean, you have possible action here, so if the action is to not take any action, you can have a motion that way. You don't need a motion, you can table it if you want to go that direction. I would probably just make it clear for the minutes that you're taking an action one way or another.
Are we trying to take action to go with the recommendation that Larry recommended?
Yeah, I agree. We go with a staff recommendation.
Okay. All right, so let's try this. Seeking a motion to adopt the staff recommendation in regards to Crystal Lake project.
I make that motion.
To not participate.
To not participate in the financial contribution, and I was just going to leave it to the
Yeah.
staff recommendation, and
Yeah.
that will.
I think that's
will
good.
cover everything
Yeah,
else.
I think you're good.
Yep.
Sounds good.
All right, so we have one motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. To make sure we don't butcher this up is, all in favor in adopting the staff recommendation in regards to the financial contribution to Crystal Lake project, please say aye. Aye. Okay. 5-0 vote. Where are we? Administration. And Joe, obviously, you could leave.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You received a presentation tonight from Boyle Construction Management, and they have proposed their services in the construction of a new fire station for the project management services for a fee of $458,750 for the duration of the project. So at this point, I'd be looking for a motion to approve Boyle Construction Management as our project manager for the fire station.
Thank you, Bill. Got a few questions here, and then we'll open it to questions. First question is, how are you anticipating to pay for this?
Sir, we'd be looking at several different funding opportunities. First, the fire company already does have some funding to put toward the project. We have secured a RACP grant for $500,000. And as Boyle has mentioned, we can try to get more money added to that over the next several years. We're also going to look at other grants, including the LSA grant that comes up every year for the state, and probably have a pretty good chance to get that through the years, especially since this is going to be kind of in different phases. So we can cobble together money from grants for different phases. We're also going to look at donations. Some donations are already on hand. Once we get started, we may be able to get other donations. We can use money from the sewer proceeds that the board would be willing to allocate toward this project. And we could also increase it for the fire tax, make an increase. And also, if needed, we can secure bonds. So there's the different sources that we would look for. How many of these we would need to tap is going to depend on the cost of the project.
Very good answer. Thank you. My next question is, why do you think it's necessary to onboard Boyle so early while you're in an RFP stage?
So Larry and I met with Boyle, and we're very impressed with their experience and the projects that they have accomplished so far. And what they told me is the whole project goes much better and better cost-effective and more efficient if the project manager is involved from the very beginning, so that they're intimately involved with every single facet of the project. And in fact, if we hire them, they will assist us in evaluating the proposals to lend their expertise, so we know among the different organizations that submit proposals to do the architecture and design, that we're comparing apples to apples. And I don't have the capabilities to do that. Larry has more capabilities than I do. But the amount of time also to properly vet these, I mean, we could get 5, we could get 40 proposals that we have to weigh and vet and recommend to the board, maybe the top 3 proposals for action. And they know this world much better than we do, and we think it would be very, very good to have them on at the very beginning. And then they will see, as they mentioned in the presentation, they will see every phase of the project through and represent our best interest, which I think that's very important. They'll also be taking some of the hours and thus some of the cost from a pure architecture firm, so that we're not going to see like a total duplication of cost between an architect and design firm and Boyle Construction Management.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. And I, for once, would like to get 40 people that are interested in our project. That would be nice. Opening it up to anybody that has a question, concerns.
Yeah.
Have at it.
You want me to, okay, all right. I do have a concern. It's not their proposal, their project management proposal. They did exactly what we asked them for, and with having several teams meetings, and I appreciate it very much. I mean, the final proposal that we have is exactly what we were looking for. Okay, so that's all good. What I have a problem with is it's the only one. We have no comparison with other project management outfits to compare it against. So I have a problem with that. The second thing is the dollar amount. I don't have anything, and I'm using I here because this is just my opinion, everybody. And so that's the concern I have, Mr. Chairman, with this. It's not the qualifications of Boyle. We just don't have anything else to look at to compare against it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Kircher?
Well, I think they would be a good team to do, but I also appreciate what Jack's saying, is that we really should see another proposal in so that everyone knew that we just didn't pick the first one. I'd like to see them do it. It's not that I want, but I just don't want to get hassled later about that we didn't have anybody else. And
I guess, Mr. Solicitor, can you chime in if we're obligated to see others, or if the township manager sees fit that he is comfortable working with Boyle here?
Well, this is a matter of professional services, so it is up to the board and the manager if they want to use this particular firm. The other thing I note is I think Boyle in their presentation today mentioned they're on co-stars as well. So with that in mind, Boyle could be the entity selected without going and looking for additional proposals.
Got it.
That is true. Yep.
Yeah.
We're all looking at you, George.
Making sure Supervisor Kircher was completed. Now, look, not discounting anything Mr. Pio or Supervisor Pio just said, I look at it like this, that the primary reason, basically it's a flat cost enterprise, so we want to immerse them as early as possible. The primary reason we're hiring them is to coordinate everything, get the bids all coordinated. So there's lots of cost controls from my seat now in place. It's actually an asset to the cost controls. The only thing would be checking for other consultants that also do the exact job Boyle does. Personally, I'm willing to stipulate that with their record, the city is very local to us, the City of Reading job, their expertise and their professionalism they've shown. I think the cost savings that they will provide through running the project is worth working with them rather than further RSVPs or RFPs for this particular part of the project. That said, procuring the money is a very important part too, and that's where they're helping us as well. That really made me way more comfortable because they'll be able to, I would imagine they'll help procure, they'll pay for themselves with what they help us procure. No pressure over there. But there's that aspect of it too. So it's not just the bid piece, but it's also the helping finance the project and running the public feedback events. I mean, when you look at everything, yes, it's a sizable contribution and sizable cost, but this, I like what I heard today as far as the overall package, and I would be comfortable working with them on this project.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor Ham.
Yeah, I agree with what George just said, but, and as far as that presentation was fantastic. It's what we're looking for. I think we need to move forward.
Please.
Mr. Chair, let me add one thing. So I took the list of projects that Boyle supplied and called 4 municipalities. They weren't recommended by Boyle. They were ones that I was familiar with, 3 of the 4, including the Reading Fire Station, where, of course, I know the fire chief there. All 4 gave not just satisfactory evaluations, but excellent evaluations, including one person from municipality that was heavily involved in their project said they became like family. They were so attentive and represented the municipality so well. So that's one of the reasons I think they're going to be a good asset for us.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, discussions?
Yep.
Okay. Circling back to it, seeking a motion to approve Boyle Construction Management proposal in the amount of $458,750 for the project management services of new fire station. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All against?
No.
Okay, it's a 4-0. 1 vote, motion carries. Okay, next item.
Next item is I'd like to get a motion to authorize the township manager to enter into an agreement extending either 24 or 36 months for the provision of electric and gas services for township-owned properties. We have a broker who looks at various companies, various rates, and has made recommendations for the most cost-effective providers of each service. The gas service is, let's see, that is coming up the end of next month, the end of May, we need to renew. And we actually can renew that either from 18 or 24 months. The electric service is not up till December, but Finance Department's indicated that often in June, when it starts to be summer months and electricity is really running, that's the time when prices often go up. So we would like to secure that now.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I would move to authorize the township manager to enter the agreements either 24 or 36 months for both utility services.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any other discussion?
No.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0 vote, motion carries. Finance. Who's taking that?
I can take this one too. Looking for a motion to approve Resolution 2025-19, authorizing the transfer of funds from the Reading Country Club Golf Fund and the Reading Country Club Events Fund to the general fund in the amount of $9,333.80. These transfers will enable us to close the Reading Country Club Golf Fund and their Events Fund and their associated bank accounts. So this is just something we need to separate us from the country club.
All right.
Good.
Well, seeking a motion to approve resolution number 2025-19, authorizing the transfer of funds from the RCC Golf Fund and RCC Events Fund to general fund in the amount of $9,333.80. And I'll make that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0 vote, motion carries. All right, Mr. Solicitor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Wanted to let the board know about a really odd final determination we received from the Pennsylvania Office of Open Records. This one pertains to a right-to-know law request filed in 2020 by David Hughes, seeking some invoices and costs related to some litigation the township was involved in way back in 2019. This appeal was filed during COVID, and as a result, the Open Records Office indefinitely stayed the appeal and just issued a final order on the 15th of this month, granting access to portions of some invoices from Fox Rothschild. And so as a result, the township has to decide whether to provide the documents or potentially file an appeal with respect to that. So it's odd because the appeal had been pending for so long, it must have slipped through the cracks at the Open Records Office level, and it's lasted longer than Mr. Hughes, his presence on this board as well. So in any event, we'll have to decide what to do with respect to that appeal. But that's all I have.
Thank you. Okay. Going Parks and Recs.
Good evening. So in previous years, we had movie night at the driving range at the country club. Also, we had it at the trout run below the football field. So this year, the country club members reached out to our Parks and Rec coordinator, Becky, and in previous years, we held movie night on the driving range at the country club. They're asking if we were interested in doing the same thing. They would have all the equipment to do so, where before we used to rent the screen, which would cost us $1,400, and also the rental of the movie, the license of the movie, they'd supply all that. What we would supply is the parking of the cars, assisting the parking of the cars, because it'd be like a drive-in movie on the driving range. We would also be passing out popcorn like we did before, like we did. However, drinks and other food would be available through the country club, not through us. So we are asking if the board is interested in being a part of this partnership with the country club for movie night on May 23rd. And the movie that they're planning on playing is The Greatest Game Ever Played, which is a golf movie, so.
Stuff. So Larry, from what I'm gathering here, that the cost to the township is minimal, if none.
Correct. I mean, the popcorn, we normally get donated to us anyways, or we have some donations that we could use to purchase the popcorn, so. And we already have the popcorn machine, so.
Is that pretzels I heard?
That's what I just asked him.
Only we had a pretzel guy here.
Yeah, we got to see if we know anybody in the pretzel world, maybe, to see if we can get any of them, so.
Awesome. All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, Larry, I know it'll be volunteers, I assume staff and board members, whoever's available for that evening?
Correct.
Let you know?
Yes.
Okay.
We might even ask the assistance through the fire chief if we could actually have some help, maybe from the fire police, possibly too, but.
But seeking a motion to approve partnership with Reading Country Club for movie night on May 23rd, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, we got ourselves a movie night.
That sounds good, thank you.
We should make it a double feature with Caddyshack.
All right, Public Works.
I just want to add that we've been working at Pineland Park, trying to get some of that stuff wrapped up for our grant that we have, our DCNR grant. So currently, we have like a little bit of the walking path to finish up, some top seed, and we're going to have them come out and do an inspection. Looks like everything is proper. We do have a meeting with DEP this Friday, just to check our water system that we have in place since the same well, but all new water fixtures. Our water test has been coming back normal, but it's just, they want to see the site itself. So we are working on that, and we're actually hoping that once we're all completed there, that hopefully maybe we can do a little grand opening on a Saturday there to have the residents come down and see how nice the park is turning into.
Good. Thank you, Larry. Actually, my kid is a frequent visitor to that park.
Okay.
So thank you for everything you guys have done.
Yep.
Okay, moving on to police and police reports.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Before I begin with my report, I'd like to, I saw Chief Jordan, retired, or ex-Chief Jordan. I'm really sorry for what you guys are going through. Our prayers are for those firefighters in your department. I know as a first responder, it's very difficult to handle those things, and if there's anything from the police department we could do to assist you, please reach out to us. I'm here for our March report. March was very busy for this police department. We handled a total of 2,750 calls for service. It's almost 89 calls per day that we handled. We handled 86 arrests. It's almost an average of almost 3 a day. Some of the major arrests were a robbery, assault. We had 3 assaults, a burglary, 33 thefts, forgery, 4 sex offenses, 15 drug arrests, 7 DUIs. The department wrote 880 citations in the month of March. That's a lot. That's an average of 28 per day. We also wrote 325 warnings. That's another 10 per day. So it's 38 traffic stops per day we're making as a department. When I became a chief and as a lieutenant over the years, I could say that we averaged 60 to 80 crashes per month. With the extra enforcement I've been seeing, I'm going to talk about this in our in the future in our annual report. I'm having Sergeant Benz speak on behalf of the traffic unit, but our crash reports are down 14%. In the month of March, we only had 33 crashes. That's only a little more than 1 a day. That's the lowest I've ever seen. So that's something that I've been really keeping an eye on. I think that's really great for us and the community. Our DJ fines and costs, this is a record. I've never seen this much. The township got $21,836 in the month of March. So that's that's part of the fine money that we receive in citations. We don't do it for the fine money, but that's a plus. Just like the board to know that our 2024 annual report is completed. I'd like to give a special shout out to Lieutenant Fullerton. He oversees that project. He does an amazing job. It's very well done, very detailed. If you want to go on the website and look, it's on there, it's posted. We'll be in the future going over that with the board. Tonight was a busy night. I don't think tonight was a good night to do it, but in the future, we'll be doing that. So it is available for the public to see. If they want to look at the annual report, it's really well done. I would like to thank Lieutenant Fullerton for that. The last thing I want to talk about is just something we did as a department. We had an incident where Byrne Township, they asked us for assistance to bring up our drone. We're the only police department in the county that has that currently. They had a home invasion. We had an officer that was working, that was trained in it, immediately went to the scene, and as he was flying it, the state police were also called. So we had our drone and a helicopter up at the same time. So this is the first time we had that situation, so we actually reached out to state police. They came down, gave a presentation. We sat with them, went over some training with them. We have actually looking at purchasing a radio that will have direct communication with them in the future. And something that we can combat both together, that if we have an incident, we can have our drone in the air and a helicopter. So it's something that we've worked out through our training and going over with them. So that's something that I was also proud of. So it's something we can do in the future. And that's all I have from the police department.
Thank you. Okay. We can go into manager's report.
So next month, we are going to hold a special event we're calling Meet the Staff.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is we want to have some of our key staff make presentations on some of what they do. And what we're looking at is to present something that's pretty unique to our municipality, or something that's not known by a lot of the public. So it's going to be a chance for our citizens to come, listen to staff, do pretty short, tight presentations, and then have the ability to come up, ask questions, and get to meet the staff in a more informal setting, which I think will be really good. They're also going to have a display of vehicles from the Public Works Department, Fire, and Police. And the Fire Department will also make a presentation, as will the library. And the library is going to be our host. So this event, it's on our Facebook page, is going to occur on Thursday, May 22nd, from 6 p.m. to 7:30 at the library. So, put that in your schedule if you can. I think it'll really be a fun and informative evening for our citizens.
Definitely.
That's all I have tonight, sir.
Thank you. All right, moving on to supervisor's report, and as always, I would like to start with Supervisor Bell.
The honor's all yours, Mr. Chairman. No, thank you, I appreciate it. Okay, a couple items here this evening. One is, it's hard to believe, but the Pennsylvania State Association of Townships meeting is on the horizon here. So if anybody does have any information they'd like to share, I'm sure any of us would take it, but it's my supervisory report, so if anybody wants me to pass anything along or investigate anything, it's a forum where supervisors throughout the whole state get together and talk about issues impacting the various communities. If you have voice you want to be heard, feel free to email me your thoughts so that I can do that. And I'm sure I'm speaking for more than just myself with that one. But the time would be now to do that, because the meeting is like a week away. So less than a week away. So please do that maybe by the end of the weekend. Item number 2, just wanted to share an event that is I think it's the first of the kind that I know of, but on Wednesday, May 14th at the historic Reading Country Club that we just alluded to earlier, there's going to be a multi-candidate event, multi-party, multi-candidate, multi-race. So it's going to be a collection of all local candidates that would appear on the Exeter Township ballot have really been invited. Now, so this is really a meet and greet, so in the purest sense, not moderated, just your chance to meet the candidates you're going to be voting for, some of the candidates we'll be voting for the following week, as the election is also this month. But it's also a chance to support a local restaurant that is now reopened, the Reading Country Club. If you didn't know, it is reopened. So you can bring your family for dinner and support them that way. I think the bar will be open as well, if that suits anyone. But really, what's nice about this is at the supervisor level, there'll be candidates from both parties. I think that's the only event of its kind having do that. A couple of the supervisors I talked to have another event a little earlier that evening, so they might be swinging by afterwards. So before it's over, I think there'll be a good selection of supervisors present that are on the ballot. I know in this case, Clarence and Jack, you're welcome to attend, but they happen to be good for another 4 years, so they won't be on the candidate. You're welcome.
What time, George?
So it's going to run from 6 to 9 at the Reading Country Club, and tentative agreement that the tax collector will be present. That's somebody you don't get to see. That's what really sets this apart. It's not just supervisors. School board candidates have been invited. I do know, as a point of fact, there's 4 of them running and 4 openings, so whether they'll decide to show up, they're definitely invited, because that's the spirit of the event, but perhaps less motivated than some other candidate races. But also, 1 or 2 of the judges on the ballot are going to try to attend. So this is a different kind of event, and it's both parties represented. So when I say it's a meet and greet, it's a meet and greet in the purest form. And I know the Country Club, as we saw with the movie event earlier, is trying to really engage with the community. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's something they try to do annually, well, every election. I wouldn't be surprised. I can speak that this is the first of its kind, and selfishly, as one of the names on the ballot, I'm going to be there. You probably guessed that by the last 3 minutes of conversation on the topic. But so mark your calendars, May 14th, 6 to 9, Reading Country Club, and you're welcome just to spin in, grab dinner, don't grab dinner, just say hello. Very informal, but it's your chance to talk to the candidates you're voting on the Tuesday after. So, but with that, that concludes this evening's supervisor report by me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor Bell. Supervisor Kurtzer?
I just like the fire company to let the people that were involved, all of them there working, must have been horrible for them to do.
Yeah.
But anyone who was injured, that I know my heart goes out to them. And if they need anything, a babysitter, a dog walker, or something, please don't hesitate to call me and let them know that we're all thinking about them.
You know, one of the injured firefighters is Township Road Crew's son. So it's directly affected us.
Okay.
So,
We're a family also.
Uh-huh.
We have a lot of guys looking after them.
I know, but there's still more of us out there.
Vice Chair?
Me?
Yes.
Me, okay. Yeah, I'll echo what Michelle, the fire department, the fellows, and all my prayers, heart goes out to them. I hope they are okay going forward and all, guys, yeah. I mean, I saw it in the newspaper this morning. It popped up on my screen, but I didn't realize that we had firefighters from Exeter Township that were hurt. So thank you, Chris, for sharing that with us. On a little different note is the Pennsylvania State Police, the helicopter. I had the privilege of attending the presentation, at least most of it, before I had to get away to go to to get on a conference call, and it was very interesting, to say the least. And Chief, thank you for allowing me to attend it. That was very informative, and I think it's going to be excellent cooperation with the Pennsylvania State Police.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Vice Chair. Supervisor Ham?
Yeah, just like to also pass on my thank you to the fire company for the outstanding job, and hope everything goes well for all those guys. I've known Barry since he was a little kid, so it's hard, but hope everything goes well, and thanks again.
Thank you, Supervisor. As for me, obviously will go along with everyone and offer my thoughts and prayers to the families of those who are affected and the ones that are recovering, and wishing them a quick recovery. Just a little bit on what we have. So last week, along with Jack here, we have met with Boyled, and we've personally discussed and went over their hours, and it was a good, productive meeting to get to the proposal that we saw in front of us today. So I want to thank Jack for that. I want to let everybody know, I think there's 2 milestones coming with our RFP that is out currently. The first one is the 20th, May 20th, right?
May 2nd is Friday. Yep.
Friday. May 2nd is for the technical questions to come in from
Yes.
prospective interested parties. And then the next one would be May 23rd, when the RFP is due.
Yes. Right.
All right, perfect. And I would like to also mention and thank Mr. Bill here for the work that's been happening on the township social media page. I see an uptick, and I see a lot of good communication, so I appreciate that. That will conclude my report. We're going to move on to public comments. Non-agenda items. And the first one I have Kim Bauer, KC Towing.
Good evening. I'm Kim Bauer from Casey Towing. I spoke here at the last meeting on April 14th about Casey Towing, and I'm here again to clarify that my rates are competitive and lower than the other tow company, GW's from Ole, that the Exeter Police use every other week. I have 2 invoices from GW's Towing that were provided to me from accidents in Exeter Township. Upon reviewing these, I noticed that I'm quite sure that the chief did not compare our rates as stated. In a comment on the Exeter Informant article, Jen Porter mentioned that she was in an accident and was towed by Casey Towing. It cost her $830. I want to make it clear for Jen and anyone else who gets towed from an accident in Exeter Township, you will pay more if GW's tows you instead of Casey Towing. If Jen Porter had been towed by GW's, her bill would have been over $1,000, 22% more than what I would have charged, an additional $233. If you look at the 2 GW invoices that I have from 2 Exeter Township accidents, the first incident, the total for that bill was almost $2,000, $1,938. If KC had towed that individual, the charge would have been $1,145. It's a 41% more charge than what I would have charged, almost $800 more to that person. The second bill was the charge of $1,430. If I had towed that, Casey Towing, it would have been $950, resulting in another $480 more from being towed by GW's. 34% increase in costs. So it's not about costs. Casey charges a flat rate when I do a police accident call. So if I'm there an hour, if I'm there 2 hours, 3 hours, it's $350. GW's, $370 per hour. So every hour they're there, they charge more. I charge $35 to crash wrap a car. They charge $100 to crash wrap a car. If I have to open my gate after hours, I charge $60. If they open their gate after hours, it's $250, which is, to me, a stark contrast. I charge $100 for cleanup. Doesn't matter if it's spills, doesn't matter if it's hazardous, it's $100, and I clean it up. They charge anywhere from $150 to $250. So it's evident to me that GW's rates are higher than my rates. So this proves it's not about cost. So I'm still perplexed as why they were brought into the township, and we are continuously giving away tax revenue from our township. I just don't understand it. But Chief Jordan, I do want to say my guys work with the police, with the firefighters and they will be in their prayers. I'm sure they're all praying for them. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Chairman,
Yes.
I would like to respond to Ms. Bauer's comments, if the board would allow me to tonight.
I'm okay. Yes.
Not seeing objections, so please.
Thank you. As police chief of Exeter Township, my priority is to serve and protect our community. That includes making decisions that ensures the best service for our residents. To clarify, Exeter Township does not have an exclusive contract with any towing company. There's no ordinance, there's nothing to say that we have to use KC Towing. We actually use multiple towing services to ensure coverage, especially during busy times when specific needs are needed. For example, KC cannot do large trucks. They cannot be called at every scene. I understand Ms. Bauer has concerns, but I'd like to address a few of her points. The decision at another tow company was operational, not personal. You're making this personal. It's not. It's based on several factors such as response time, equipment, reliability, and abandoning vehicle process. We did speak roughly 6 months ago. I explained that in addition of the second company was not a reflection of your business, but rather a move to support public safety. Actually, we also use Bill's Towing, which is in the township. You failed to mention that they're exclusively 3As. You are not. Service and availability were part of our review, and the alternate provider offered competitive rates and improved support in a lot of areas. But again, this decision was not based about costs. Therefore, there's been no free service, as you mentioned last meeting, or special treatment given our officers. In fact, our officers, including myself, have personally used KC Auto Body and had to pay for the towing bill, which you said last week that we'd get free service. That is not true. Not that I'm aware of. The township has also paid for services rendered by all vendors, including KC Towing. The police department does not receive free towing from KC. I have invoices that I pulled from the last ones that we used from you as soon as November 25th, 2024. After we had our discussion, we had a vehicle that was in an accident in Kutztown, and we were charged $626.
We gave you a 25% discount on that.
Well, you said you don't charge us. That's, okay, I'm not here to debate it. It's my turn. It's my turn.
I do have invoices.
Guys.
Okay?
Guys,
I have several other,
Not your time to talk.
I have several other invoices I could go through here that every time we've used KC Auto Body, we've been charged. Matter of fact, we had a car that was a canine vehicle that was in Carlisle for training. The officer went to come back. The car wouldn't start. Called Larry. Larry asked if they could take out the spare canine vehicle so the dog wouldn't have to ride on the back of a tow truck for safety reasons. We were towed for both towing vehicles of an amount of $600 for each one. So that's what I've researched. As I stated, there are no contracts or agreements, and we've used KC and several other companies based on needs. When we have a crash or we have an incident, I leave it up to the officers that are working the street to determine who they want to call and who they feel as they feel fit and need. There's enough pressure for our officers when they're on a scene, and it's a serious scenes, to determine who they need to get out there and who is proper. I leave it to them. I don't micromanage it, and that is our process. Again, there is no ordinances or contracts or anything that I have to call KC Towing. Our goal is very simple as a police department. We provide safe, fair, and timely service to Exeter Township residents. That's the bottom line. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Chief. All right, moving on to the next. I have Alex Willinger, and concerned about police.
Yeah, I'll be brief. I think all the emergency services that happen in Exeter are by good, honest people doing good work in a hard environment. I don't argue that at all. But I am here tonight to talk about an incident that happened Saturday. I live off Rugby Road. Don't know what happened at 11:58. I was woken by my dog and then my wife saying there was someone in the backyard with a flashlight. I went looking as well. There's about 9 cop cars parked on Rugby Road, searching through the backyards. I asked an officer in the street after he came out of my backyard, who I basically said, "Hey, officers, like, what are you looking for?" And he asked me if I saw anything suspicious, and I said, or anything unusual, and I just said, "Just you guys." And then I said, "Should I be in concern?" And he said, "You should return to your home." I'm not getting in the way of police work that I think are honest police doing good work. But on another level, the next morning, like, I'm an American citizen on my own property asking a law enforcement agent what they're searching for. They're not in the right of way. They're in my backyard, which has no public access. I'm not going to make a mountain out of a molehill on this one. And to be fair, I don't know if it was Exeter. I don't know if you guys had it. It was about 9 cop cars out Saturday night on Rugby Road. I don't know who it was exactly. But again, I asked a law enforcement officer what they're searching for on my property, and I did not get a concise answer. And I think that was a particularly good way to handle that. Like I said, I'm not sure it was you. Again, won't make a mountain out of a molehill out of it, but I do have to call it out when I see it.
Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate your time.
Ask them to, we'll stick around and meet with the chief.
Alex, if you want to just stay around after the meeting and meet with the chief, maybe he could shed some light. Yep. Okay, thank you. All right, lastly, Chris Jordan, do you want to speak again, or you're good? Okay.
I don't know if someone.
I have a hand up, Mr. Bob Hoffman.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I was late, I didn't get to sign.
I'll sign you in.
Don't get old.
You only get 2 minutes, not 3, though, Bob.
Yeah.
Took me a minute to get here.
Yeah, we might have to get the portable hand
Text me
mic
your
and
address
give it to
then.
Bob.
See how they pick on an old guy?
I'm sorry, I'm getting there too.
Getting there.
As the chief will tell you, I've been banging the drum for the fire blankets to the point where they got so fed up hearing me talk about it that they went out and bought some. How many did we buy? That's why I was hoping you'd remember.
Wow.
At any rate,
100.
do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Fire blankets? If you don't have one.
We have 2 at home.
May I strongly suggest that you go buy one? But the reason I bring this up is to take it one step further, and I would suggest that the township purchase and sell them to our residents at cost for maximum distribution. I think part of the job is fire prevention, not just fighting the fires. So, at any rate, I guess this is a real easy one, but I don't know. In the real estate taxes, you know, you get your bill and there's the hydrant and there's the fire tax. Why couldn't we take the fire tax off the bill and just pay whatever we pay to the fire department, no different than we do at the police department? Why does it have to be a line item? Because people see it and they go, "Oh, look at this." And then they hear a new fire station, they think the fire tax is going to go up, and their hair catches on fire. That's a joke. So I know the bad one, but just if there's an easy answer on that, I don't know. Maybe there's a state law or something, but it sure would save a lot of hassles. Now, this one I stole from my dear friend Bob Jordan, sitting in the front row. If you go to Boyertown, you see the Boyertown Bears, right? Have you ever seen those?
Yeah.
Why couldn't we have an Exeter Eagle? We can park the first one right outside the municipal building. We could put them outside the firehouse, the new one that is, the schools, just to promote the strength of our community. I think it would go a long ways to say you're from Exeter, just look at the Exeter Eagle. I mean, Boyertown identifies with it. So I can hear it now. Well, what do they cost, Bob? I have no idea. You know, we'll get the ones from Boyertown and paint them blue and white. I don't know. I didn't say that, Chief. And one last thing, and with all due respect to my friends here at KC, I saw the comments on the website too. Maybe it'd be fair if there was a separate meeting with all the towing companies, and they could talk about their rates and fees and service areas and all that sort of thing, rather than getting into a back and forth between the chief and KC. That's it. I'm done.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Bob gets credit for the Exeter Eagle. So if you like the idea, it's my idea. If you don't, it's his.
Mr. Solicitor, do you have something in regards to why do we have a separate line item for the fire tax?
I think it's only because we have it set up under the second-class township code as a separate tax.
Right.
So I think it's to specially call out what that particular fund is being used for. I think it's also to prevent the township from using funds earmarked for fire protection purposes for its own uses.
Yeah, and that's the first, I admit that I haven't heard any pushback on the fire tax, Bob, at least not from people in the township, so that was kind of interesting to hear that.
On a linear scale, it's one of the lowest in Berks County.
Right.
It is.
Yeah, that's true.
Good to know, Bob. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Jack, if you recall, there was a meeting a few months ago where we talked about the new fire station. Some lady got up and she was vehement.
Oh, yes, I remember that. Yes.
We're gonna.
Chairman, before we close, the gentleman that spoke, could I respond to him also?
Any objections from the board?
Nope.
Please.
So that incident that occurred Saturday night was our officer was behind a stolen vehicle. He attempted to stop it, and the vehicle was not from the area, and tried to avoid him by, I guess he thought the driveway was a roadway. When he turned into the driveway, he ran into the carport. Bailed. We set up a perimeter. Probably, we don't have 9 officers working on a night shift, so if he said he saw 9, we tried to set up a perimeter. We used other agencies to help. We had a drone sent up, and setting up a perimeter is very important to try to keep the person contained. That's like the first thing we try to do, and that's probably why he was focused on the incident, focused on what his job was, and I don't think when someone comes out, we can just have a conversation like that. So, yeah, it's what his job is, to tell the person, hey, go in the house, close the doors, let us handle our job, and we can't just sit there and explain it to him. And then, I'm sure it took several hours to look for that suspect. We get it, and we're not going to go back to the house and wake him up and say, hey, we want to let you know what's going on. So that's the situation we're in. That's the explanation of that situation. I'll gladly talk to the gentleman afterwards, but that's what occurred that evening.
As long as we're holding ourselves to higher standards.
So, when we have something like that, we're not going around knocking on doors and asking them if we're going to go through their yard. If we can, we have a suspect, a stolen vehicle that flees like that, we're trying to do our job and trying to apprehend him as soon as possible.
Thank you. Okay.
I make that motion to adjourn.
I second it.
To adjourn, that is.
Hang on. Seeking a motion to adjourn. I have one motion and I have a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned. Good night, everybody.